welcome to this video. In this video, I just want to show you how we could explore the Azure Bicep. So from our previous video, we did discuss the ARM templates. And then if you have been using it or started using ARM templates, you're going to be saying there's a lot of confusion due to the JSON uh, way of doing things with ARM templates. But now we have this Azure Bicep, which kind of clean and neat compared to Azure templates. So we're going to be discussing today variables, parameters, uh, conditionals, loops, and functions. And then we'll try to create one resource. We'll just try to focus on the basics so it's going to be easy for you to move forward or turn to this Azure Bicep. So yeah, let's get started. So I'll be starting with variables.bicep. So there are pretty much the same, meaning pretty much the same with ARM templates when it comes to types. So we have strings, integers, arrays, objects. So now from line 10 up to line 20, we have a variable up name, which is a string. And then we have var replicas as a number. And then we have line 14 var div is dev env, which is a boolean. And then we have a which is also a mixed array. And then for the last example, we have so we will try to execute okay, actually are inside the resource. And then let me try to execute this. So so variable. So if ever I started there, let's try that again. Oh, sweet. S. So hopefully this time it's expected. And are going focus. Give it a few seconds now and then. So while waiting, we have here a variables.json, which is when, let's say, I wanted to build this bicep file. At the moment I build this, it will generate a IARM template, which is a JSON, which you could also use when you wanted in Azure. So yeah, I think it's now working. So let's go back to section for the output section. So yeah, so application customer, a object, and then we have your application sample up. Find it. So yeah, it's an object. So for the application dev environment, it's a boolean, it's a bool, it's application for. So we have mixed list also, and then yeah, application name, string, replica, int, above. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the variables. So just ever you are curious, we could actually type um az bicep and then f for the file flag, and then you can just choose the file name for that, and then it will create JSON file. So variable, so bicep build, then f for file, pass it, then yeah. So this is the variables as just so yeah. So as expected, we have this output dev next list and sample object. Okay. You can also use that as a file for you to deploy to Azure. It's up to you. So you could choose JSON or the bicep. Now that we have an idea what is a variable within a bicep file, let's now try to move to the parameter. So if you are familiar with a function, you have probably heard a parameter. So in this file, we have declared two parameters. So we have this one, this one. Oh, I sorry. So it's three. So we have this one, my resource group, the env, and then my Azure. Okay, as you can see, on top of the param keyword, we have decorators, also known attributes in other languages, but in this context, in Bicep, it's called uh, decorators. So like here, so we set this as the description. We have set the mean and the max length when we are going to set this my resource. And then we also have here an EN, which says we have an allow decorate, which only allows dev QA. And we have here address description and allowed strings array, the Azure. So let's just try to see the output for this one. Let me go side per and let me around. So we'll be expecting outputs from the file. So again, if you wanted to make this a JSON file like the ARM template, the bicep build, the F for the flag, then set the file for this, use it. So yeah, I think still process. While waiting, what we could do is move to another um other file. Oops. Okay, seems that has finished. So let's go to the output section. As you can see here for the output section, so app environment, so we have string which is dev, app region, so we have my Azure Southeast Asia. Then for the last part, app reg, we have set it into RGB. So yeah, so going now to the conditionals. So we have now an idea what is a param is. So just set here what is the allow or the. However, if you wanted to put some conditions like an if else in a programming context, we could use that here actually. So let's try to run that and let me go to then let me try that again to that file. Okay, channels. Yeah, so as you can see, you have a conditional way of doing biceps. Right after this, we're going to also see a loop. So if you're familiar with for loops, or if you have done something else aside from biceps like JavaScript languages, you're familiar with for, it's gonna be easy for you to grasp the idea or get the idea. So I think it's still being processed. Let's now try to go to that bicep. Oh yeah, every time we go to the next file, it's just finished. Anyway, let's go again to channels and let's see the outputs. So yeah, so if new or existing is existing, let output or let the result set to existing. So now for the output, the result type is string, which obvious in our part. This is inside the quotes, single quotes. Then the value is what we expected, existing. So we could do it that way, or just for the simple example. So for now, for the loops, yeah. So for the loops, so even before we started discussing that, let me try to run it. So moment to explaining it, we are already waiting for it to finish. Okay, so for the file name, yeah, so for the loops, it's just easy. So just use for the keyword for, then start certain range, uh, let's say 0, and then for the count, for the length, actually have 5. And then every time uh, it increments into 1 until it reaches 5, so it will say Apple item. And yeah, let's try this one. And I think it's been finished. So, so as expected, for the array result, have the type array, and then inside the array, we have printed out Apple item. So as expected, item 1, 2, 3, and 5. So yeah, now that we have a good idea about the variables, parameters, loop, conditionals, let's try to see the function. This is the built-in functions that we'll try to explore inside the biceps. Although we won't be tackling a lot of the built-in functions here, we'll just try to see what are the common ones that we could use, or actually just to be familiarize ourselves with. So again, while we are discussing the functions, let me now try to run this functions that bicep. And yeah, so here, so at line 1, we declared a variable that's assigned a string as a value of 10. And then what we did is we converted this into like your part, a numerical value that's equal to that. Then um, concatenated strings. So I just use the built-in function concat, then passing the strings and followed by comma. And yeah, let's see what will be for that here. And then I know that interpolated string is also part of biceps. Like I the unfruit strings, so it's gonna be in the dollar sign, then curly, then put there the, let's see what would exact result. And then there's also a built-in function empty, checks whether a variable is empty or, then we're gonna see the result later. And we're expecting that this is true, and then for the last one, there is built-in function which checks whether this is true, and I believe -1. So let's now try to go to so yeah, so for the empty result, yeah, so it's empty, so it's true. Empty result 2, it's false because it has a value. It has a value. The int result, which is int of course, and we converted that in numerical value of 10. Now for the interpolated string, so apple avocado, which is expected. Um, Root 1 is apple avocado. Apple avocado. Oh, yeah. -1 result is true because -1 is. And for the string format result, we have here a concatenated. I haven't really put the space there, but if you wanted to, you put that in the comment section. How we're gonna do it. Then now for the last part, we will create a resource in our Azure or, cloud. So let me cd and run now. I think this will create a Azure storage account in a previous file. Then while it is being run, try to navigate Azure. Yeah, so it's still running, still being processed. So yeah, just to give you an idea, so if ever you wanted to create a resource, or let's say I'll create another. So I'll just type resource here and then source source. Yeah. Right after typing that, I could choose within the IntelliSense list that I have here. So let's say, for example, I wanted to create a in gateway. It will give you um the things that you needed and the required values that are needed to be set. So something like that. But for our purposes, we a Microsoft storage. Um, going to going the Azure portal, I think we have that here. The name is Azure Storage 122. So this is the storage name, and yeah, it was already deployed to Azure Cloud that subscribing to. And yeah, so let's see the results. So this looks like a successful one. So hopefully you like this, guys. Introduction Azure Bicep. I know everyone would like to be a developer, knows how to code with the Bicep. Familiarize yourself with the concepts, and it's gonna be easy for you to navigate this. So thank you, guys. Cheers and bye bye.